Let's raise the big questions. Has delimitation politics now gone too far? Is the call by any leader for larger families in this country a wise one? Is there any rationale for Stalin's call? Joining me now is Poonam Muthrejas. He's Director, Population Foundation of India. And I'm also joined by S. Dharnidharan. He's spokesperson of the DMK. Appreciate both of you joining us. I want to come to you, Poonam Muthreja. You're listening to politicians. First, it was Mohan Bhagwat of the RSS saying we must have more children. We are becoming an aging population. His was more in the context of the fear that India is becoming an aging society. And now you've got it in the context of delimitation, MK Stalin raising his voice. Do you believe these are wise calls to make in a country of 1.4 billion people?
Such calls are not only unwise, but misguided, and I'd like to say harmful. They reduce women only to their reproductive roles. Whatever happens, you put more burden on the women, you undermine women's reproductive autonomy, and reduce complex issues into simplistic demographic targets, which is not going to work, because once fertility begins to decline, it doesn't reverse. You can stabilize fertility by investing in women, by giving parental leave to both parents. You can give incentives for childcare, for good care of the mother and economic opportunities, but you cannot just reverse and put a button on and off. So what they're talking about is completely unrealistic. It won't happen. And why always, how easily, whatever happens, we go to women without thinking of their economic burdens, their aspirations beyond being just mothers. It also reinforces very outdated gender stereotypes, putting pressure on women while overlooking any responsibility of the men, which is in this case talking about delimitation in the context of the historical aspects, finding solutions, the fact that we gave up and stopped delimitation process. We froze it in 76, then again in 2001. Why don't we bring in those historical aspects and discuss them? Why we froze then and why we may need to freeze again.
Let me take that to S. Dharnidharan, because what you're hearing, we thought, Mr. Dharnidharan, that the Tamil Nadu government has been traditionally seen as among the more progressive, particularly when it comes to demographics, to population, the southern states in general. Now we are finding that a chief minister of a state is telling people have more babies. This reverses all that your governments have stood for, all that southern states have stood for in the last several decades. Why are you creating this bogey of delimitation? Is it simply because there are elections next year and this is pure fear mongering?
Then Rajdeep, then I'd ask you, one of the first articles on delimitation was written by India Today. It came 15 months back that total number of seats will increase to 848 and South India's total representation in the parliament will reduce from 25% to 17% and Tamil Nadu's representation will reduce from 7.2% to 5%. But having said that, I'd like to clarify to my previous speaker, our leader MK Stalin has done more for women than anyone else have done in Tamil Nadu so far. Numerous schemes. But having said that, what did he say? He says earlier we used to tell newlywed couples, take your time, have babies whenever you want. But now, because the way the union government is acting, I wouldn't say it anymore. If you want to have it, you can have it as quickly as possible. Why is he saying it? Because what was delimitation? As per Article 82, constituencies can be redrawn based on population. It was frozen in 1976 by Indira Gandhi. Why? Because to incentivize states that followed single child policy religiously. Tamil Nadu followed religiously. Why? In the interest of the nation. But 2001, even Vajpayee, understanding that, froze the delimitation for 25 years. Now we are asking to freeze the delimitation, but BJP saying no, delimitation will happen. So now we are being disincentivized.
BJP is saying that even if there is delimitation, Mr. Dharnidharan, it will be pro rata, that there will be no reduction in seats in proportion to seats that North India gets. In the circumstances, is your leader barking up the wrong tree at the moment with fear mongering? When delimitation happens, you can have this debate. At the moment, you are preempting the debate.
No. They are only saying there won't be any decrease in seats. I know there won't be decrease in seats, but what will happen is, because nowhere population has declined, so there won't be decrease in seats. But there will be proportional decline, is what we are saying. Because that is what the Article 82 says. Otherwise, and unlike other bills, you don't need to pass the bill for delimitation. Unless you put a freeze on it to an amendment, it is bound to happen when December 31st, 2025 will pass and 2026 will happen. That's what the Constitution says. So we are saying, like the previous government, work on an amendment to freeze it, or share an amendment in which you say that the proportion of the seats in Tamil Nadu will be constant. I haven't heard the word proportion from the Home Minister or the Prime Minister. They are only saying seats won't decrease. But the point is, its proportional decrease is envisaged, and no one has clarified on that matter. And
okay, so you're calling for a you're saying anything that is done on delimitation should be proportionate. But I will ask you once more. Why should a chief minister encourage in any form people to have more children, knowing that it can affect their economic condition? Why do it at all? Why should people in high public office, whether it is a Mohan Bhagwat or today it's a Stalin, for different reasons, ask people to have more babies? Mr. Dharnidharan.
Comparing apples to orange. Mohan Bhagwat said we should have for religious reasons, for religious purpose. But our chief minister is literally not saying have, but he's saying the union government, through its policies, will makes me say that don't delay and have children, is what he's saying. Even few months back he said the same thing. That's where even then he was very careful. He's saying earlier we used to say have 16 and be happy, then we stopped saying, then we said be happy. Now because of the union government, I may have to again restart saying have 16 and be happy. So we have to be very careful. He's saying union government is forcing us to do this. He's not saying go have more children. He's saying union government is disincentivizing Tamil Nadu. He's telling it rhetorically for the people to understand. Of course, people have to understand what the union government is trying to do. It is unfair. It is not democracy. When delimitation will happen, they can
you are mixing
5 or 6 states.
No. You can make the political arguments without So you are also your party knows the social implications, the economic implications of having more children. Poonam Mutreja, you're hearing a politician saying, look, we want certain clarifications on delimitation. That's what is the big fear. Do you believe that this could explode? That we are sitting on a ticking time bomb? Because the fact is the Hindi heartland states have exploded population-wise compared to the south. There is that issue. We are a divided society even when it comes to demographics. You've had the southern states virtually achieving world-level fertility rates, while North India, while the rates have declined, still remains well ahead of the South. So there is a question mark.
There is definitely a question mark, and the demographic transition theory suggests that regions at different stages of population growth require tailored policy responses. The rationale behind freezing delimitation in 1976 was exactly that. What I want to say, Rajdeep, is that mixing whether it's politics, rhetoric, or the lack of debate, good alternatives, discussions on delimitation is very separate from asking people to have more children. You know what? The state of Tamil Nadu or any of the southern states, which, as you said, have done so well in not just fertility. They invested in education, health, better governance, better autonomy for women, more empowerment. Are we going to reverse all that? Because without that, you will find what's happening in Bihar and UP and the northern states is because women have less education, women have less access to good health services, do not have the agency to make decisions about their reproductive choices. Is that what we want to do? Take those lessons from Bihar and UP into Tamil Nadu. And finally, there is a complete mixed a confused response from the southern states, where they are saying that either women should have more children or even wanting to penalize. Above all, the principles of non-penalizing states that followed the population stabilization agenda must remain central to the proposed solution. And we need more discussion and debate, but let's not enter into women's bedrooms and dictate what is going to take us back, take not only South India, but the rest of the country back by many years for women.
Let me therefore get a final comment from you, Mr. Dharnidharan. Are you aware that, your strength today of Tamil Nadu is you've got your act together on these social indices? Surely your state doesn't want to pull back. You don't want to go back to the past, right? Am I correct? Therefore, is this pure politics? I ask you one last time. Is your chief minister playing pure politics?
Absolutely. There's no politics in it. As I said, even your channel suggested it's going to increase. Now, the whole point is the chief minister is not ordering or even dictating. He is only suggesting. It's more so like said in a rhetoric, making poke at the union government's policy to disincentivize Tamil Nadu for following the single child policy. It is poking at the union government's policy. So why are you disincentivizing us? That is the question here. Why are you disincentivizing?
You're saying it's rhetoric. You're saying it's rhetoric.
Okay, right.
You're saying it's rhetoric. The question is rhetoric sometimes can spiral out of control. Poonam Muthreja and Mr. Dharnidharan, I want to leave it there. I think we want to, the fact is, those in public life have to be very careful of the words they use. I'm going to leave it there at the moment. The last thing we need in this country is a clarion call to really have more babies. This is not really what should be India's priority.